says, how do I express a style that is functional, genuine, and unique? You want to go back to the beginning. You want to understand who you are, what you actually aesthetically like. This is one of the biggest issues women in particular have, particularly when we haven't got a model body that walks a catwalk and that we can fit all sorts of clothes onto us. So we often get stuck with age and experience in life of limiting ourselves to just a few things because we've kind of figured out that that works and we don't know what else works. And we make a lot of decisions about what to even think about trying on based on a whole lot of rules we've actually developed for ourselves. So we stop looking beyond that and we get stuck in what I call a style rut. So when we are thinking about this, and this is what I've done in my Visualize Your Style program, I've taken you out of the realms of clothes to think about, like before you even think about clothes, to really actually understand what is your aesthetic, what it is that you love. It's your essence in a way, but you're defining your essence. Nobody else is doing it for you. You're defining it. You're actually figuring out what it is you love, and it's outside of clothes. Because when we get stuck just looking at clothes, we start overlaying with a whole lot of body image stuff we don't even realize we're doing. Most of the time it's subconscious, so we don't even realize we're doing it. So what we want to do is go back beyond clothes. We want to get outside of clothes to understand what we really like, and then once we've actually established that, we can figure out, how do I do that in my style? But until you understand what your aesthetic is, understand what it is that you love, it's very hard to actually develop your own style that is functional, genuine, and unique. Because at least you've got those words, functional, genuine, unique, but what is unique to you? You know, what is functional to you? What is genuine to you? So genuine is authentic, and authenticity is such an important part of your style, but it is one of those things that it has to be for you rather than laid on by somebody else. And this is why when somebody says, oh, everybody needs this in their wardrobe, they don't, because wardrobes are personal, and your lifestyle is personal. What you enjoy wearing is personal, whether you're a hot person or a cold person. Like, there's so many things we have to layer into what works for us, which is why those lists don't work at all, and why just copying somebody else's style is not going to make you feel stylish or fashionable, and it's not going to make you feel confident, because it's not necessarily you, because they are not you. You are two unique individuals. But this is why, if you start to understand, if you go back to the beginning, you understand what it is, you can then, if you work through a process, which I have, like quite a in-depth process to get from finding my aesthetic to actually developing a style and understanding how you can express that in clothing. But we have to walk through this set of steps rather than, you know, we can't just kind of jump from one, like this, that start to the end. There's a bunch of steps in between, which is what I go through in that program. Do you have any 1, 2, 3 simple suggestions on how we can work out what type of style we are? So I would recommend, number one, I have a personality quiz, but it only gives you your core personality. It only gives you the start of that. And this is where, in my programs, this is what we do. We actually work out what is your personality, what is your yin yang, who are you, and therefore how can you express that? There's not a really simple way. Whenever I see something's too simple, I go, great, it's very simple, but it's not going to work for everybody. It's a more complex thing, because you are a complex human, and complex humans require complex answers. It's not really simple, because there's so many different things we have to layer on to actually find our style. But this is what's inside my programs, what I go really deep on, way beyond anything that I write about, because these are complex things, and it's what I help my clients find. And in the programs, and I give personalized feedback in those programs too, and can help you do that. But that is, I would recommend you doing the Visualize Your Style program, because that really can help you start that process off. There's so many different aspects, but it is a great starter process that will have you re-looking at your style in a complete new way. And then suddenly you'll start to understand yourself more and what is really authentic and genuine to you, because this is what we lose over time. It's very easy to get lost over time and just buying what happens to be in stores and whatever is the local store, because that's what they're serving up in the current fashions, rather than thinking, is this really me? There's nothing wrong with the local stores and the current fashion if that's you. But if it's not you, there's no point in spending any money on it. And that's why the more you have your own personalized set of criteria, then it makes shopping easier. It makes those decisions much easier because say it's me or it's not me. It's not a will I, won't I, I'm not sure, because you get these definite answers when you really understand what is you. And so part of it is finding your aesthetic. So we need to, essentially, we need to understand our aesthetic and what we actually love. We need to understand what works for our physicality. So the colors, the body shape, proportions, variations, those physical elements. And then we need to understand our personality and how we want to express our style through our personality and how different personality traits actually influence every style choice. So in some ways, this is my 1, 2, 3. We've got to look at our lifestyle, how we spend our time and what we actually need in our wardrobes. All these things are part of it, and that's what's in my 7 steps to style, but they're actually multi-stage processes. It's not just a really simple, just go and buy this thing, because the minute you get that, it's not individualized, it's not personalized, and you'll end up going wrong. And that's why I see so many, I always remember somebody was doing the Project 333, and she said, I decided to do this because, I thought it would be a bit of fun. Now, she was somebody with a very creative style. And Project 333 is all about wearing 33 garments for 3 months. And she said, it was all great until I realized it was 33 garments. I thought it was 333 garments. She said, I couldn't wear 33 garments for 3 months. I'd be bored out of my skull. And this is why, there's no one way that works for everybody. Some people want a very small, streamlined wardrobe, and that works for them. Other people want a big wardrobe with a lot of options that they can mix and match and do things, and they get bored more easily with their style, and so they need more variety. And knowing which of these is you is really important, because I've seen so many people throw it all out for a minimalist wardrobe, and it's been a big mistake. Then they have regretted it terribly. So this is where, we can often get all these things of we should go to minimalist, etc. But if it's not you, and I know it's not me, I would go out of my skull. Even when I just travel for a short period of time and I may take a very small wardrobe, it doesn't take long for me. When I get home, I think I don't even want to see those clothes for some time. And it's because that's all I've seen for however many days I've been away. And so I know for me, going minimalist is not for me. I can do it for a short period of time, but I don't want to do it all the time. I like variety. I like being able to think about wearing my clothes in different ways, and that gives me some, creative expression and, a bit of fun in my life. So if you love clothing choices, don't go minimalist. As much as it works for some people, it does not work for everybody. But for some people, the minimalists get overwhelmed by a big wardrobe. But if you are more of a maximalist, doesn't mean everything's new. You may have been keeping things. In fact, this client who couldn't do the Project 333, she had some clothes that were 30 years old, but because she was very creative, they did not look dated. And the way she wore them, she was always reinventing how she wore them. It kept it fresh. It kept it interesting. Rather than just wearing things in the same outfit over and over again and then getting bored and then throwing it all out and buying a whole new wardrobe each season, which is way less sustainable. So I really think they are just a few little tips and thoughts about how to do some of these things, but it is not a really simple thing. And whenever I see really simple, if somebody tells you you've got the simplest way of fixing this, it's probably not going to work. It may work for somebody who's just like them, because usually they've worked out something that worked exactly for them, and so they're just telling you to do that. But it doesn't take everybody else into account, and so therefore often these things don't work.